Okay, this video is going to walk you through the Geoquick project, project 4.1, there in chapter 4. And I mean, the textbook has the step-by-step instructions on how to do this. You can watch my video and follow along, or you can follow through with the book. I'll probably be very similar to what the book is doing. I'm going to try and stick pretty close to what the book is showing you. To start with, you're going to download this prototype file from Blackboard that I've given you in the Geoquick Dropbox, and download that file. It's pretty much the same as the template that the textbook provides you with, but I did add a visible layer to it a couple of years ago when I was doing some maintenance in this class. But we're going to add I want you to add a center layer to it also. Now, I think this is the first drawing project where you're using the prototype files, and these all have this magenta rectangle here and some instructions for where to draw your objects at that come from the textbook. And if you look at the layers here, they don't have a lot of drawing stuff. So the visible layer is there. And let's turn on this miter box, okay? And so here's where you're going to draw your object. And this tells you put the lower left corner of the front view here, upper left corner, top view here, right side view here, and then this is the miter line for doing orthographic drawings. And that will come into play in the near future, but not for this particular drawing, because we're not doing an orthographic drawing on this one. So I'm going to turn the miter box back off. Okay. Now all this stuff is on the layer called model space. And if we look at the title block here, when we get to the end, we'll come back to model space here, or paper space, so that we can talk about some of those stuff here. So back here, let's create that new center layer, and let's see, what did I say? I said make it green. Okay, so we'll go green, and we don't have any hidden lines in this particular project, so we don't have to worry about adding a hidden line or layer to that. And we want to make it a 0.3 millimeter. Okay. All right, so we can close that out. Let's see, units should be set to decimal, so we'll go units, just double check that, decimal, all that's good. Let's bump this up a couple of decimal points there, and we'll go OK. Now let's check our text. So we'll have to go to Annotate tab and hit our pull down. And standard, okay, it's set for Arial, so that's good. And now we'll go make sure we're on our visible layer, and we'll start our rectangle command. And it's telling me put the first corner at absolute value 4,5. Enter the upper right corner 3.5. Okay, and so we're going to start with a rectangle and then work out from there. And then we're to explode it. So I can select that polyline and go explode. And then you can see we've got individual lines there. And so we're going to go with the offset command, a distance of 0.5, and offset this left side in. Oh, what happened? Offset 0.5. And we'll go to the inside, and then we'll restart offset with a distance of 2. And from the bottom up. And then do it again with a distance of 0.5. Okay. And if you're wondering why I was able to do this so quickly, is once you've executed a command, if you press the space bar, it automatically goes back into that command again. Okay. Let's see. Next is to do some trim. So we'll go to trim, and we could do a lasso to get those, and then take that one out. All right. Okay, so that's got me down through step 6. I'm going to save my file. I'm going to do a save as. And let's see. Let me get to the right folder where I'm saving my stuff. Oh, wrong one. This is chapter 4. And what I want you to do on naming these is put your last name in the first part of the file name. Because I've kind of explained it in Blackboard. When we download the files to grade, Blackboard adds all this information about it into the file name. The only way to identify it's yours is because they put your 900 number in the file name. Well, I don't know your 900 numbers by heart, okay, and they're not in my grade book. So you have to put your last name in your file name, and that helps us to determine whose is whose. All right, so next is going to be circle command. So we're going to go with a circle diameter, and we're going to do a snap from at the lower left corner, and so I can choose my object snap over here on my toolbar, the snap from right there, or you can hold down the shift key and right click your mouse and get the these are temporary snaps, okay? So I want to go snap from, and I'm going to choose that corner. And I want to tell it a relative distance, so I'm going to go at 1.5, comma 1.625. And now I want a diameter of 1.5. Okay, that looks about right. That's what looks like in the textbook there. Now we want to do a chamfer. Distance, so I don't know what my settings are, so I'm going to go D for distance. And let's see, first will be 0.625. Next will be 0.5. And then we'll pick the top line first, the vertical line second, and that will create our chamfer. Okay. All right, so I'm looking at step 9. You can do the, yeah, we'll just stick with the way the book is going here. So we'll do a circle diameter again, along with a snap from this point, and come over. We're going to go at negative 0.5, comma 0.5. Enter, and a diameter of 0.375. All right, now we want to do a fillet. radius 0.5. And then pick those two. So that's got me going there. All right. I would recommend that you save your file every couple of steps. After you've saved it that first time, give it a new file name, you can just go save. Because sometimes you just never know when AutoCAD may hang up with you. Okay, there could be a conflict with other things going on with your computer. And I've often had it just kind of hang and just wait there. So I totally recommend save your file every couple of minutes. Okay, step 11, another circle, diameter with another snap from. Okay, and we're going to go at, what is it, 375 both ways. With a diameter of 0.25. Okay. And then we'll do another fillet on this corner. A radius 0.375. Okay. Now we're going to do a rectangular array. And so I'll come up here and I'll go pull my rectangular array down and select this circle. And then I can go right click or I can press enter on the keyboard. Okay, number of columns will be 4. That's what we've got. Number of rows, let's change that to 2. Okay, distance between columns 0.375. That's what we've got. Distance between rows 2.75. And I'll press the tab key to make that happen. Okay, and so that looks all good. I'll say close the array. Okay, all right, so that's got the gasket pretty well done. Now, I haven't done a video yet on center lines. So let me, let's look at those now. If we go to the Annotate tab, you got two tools right here, Center Mark and Center Line. There's 3 different ways of doing center lines and center marks in AutoCAD. This way here with the center mark and center line tools is a fairly new addition, and it kind of automates the way center marks and center lines are made. However, the properties for those things are software defaults. So you can set the defaults for the sizes of the dashes and the gaps and the overhangs, but they stick with the software. So if you set them for an imperial drawing, you would set like the size of the dash or the cross to like an 1/8 of an inch, and the overhang to like an 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 of an inch or whatever. But then when you do a metric drawing and you use the center mark tool, well, those settings are still there. So instead of it being an 1/8 of an inch, it's an 1/8 of a millimeter. So when you use the center mark tools, you have to be careful with those. Another way to do the center marks is with a thing we call the dim center command. And this is an older command. Well, let me put one of these in here first. So let's change over to our center layer and go back, center mark, and I'm going to choose this big one here because it'll be easy to see. All right, so now let's select this, and you see it selects the whole thing. So it's not a block, but it's one entity. And let's look at our properties. Okay, so you see the program default is to put it on the center to layer, so or line type. So it just added that line type to your drawing file. And we can come down here, the cross size, the cross being the plus sign in the middle, is 0.1 units. Okay, so that's a tenth of an inch. The gap is 0.05 units. And then the left extension, is an eighth of an inch, 0.12. I say 0.1, that's not, I was wrong, that's not 0.1 units. I want to say it's 0.1 the diameter of the circle. Let me repeat that on a smaller circle and let's take a look at it. Yeah. So the properties, when it says 0.01 x, that means it's 0.1 of the diameter of the circle. Okay, because you can see the second one I did there is much smaller. And if you want to change the length of the extension, you can just grab it and drag it out. Okay, and honestly, this looks weird because that thing is so small. Okay, another way of doing it is with what we had as the dim center command, and we type that on the keyboard, dim center, and then we select our object, and it puts it in. Now let's look at the properties. If we select it, you see this is all individual lines. And the sizes, the controls for this are in the dimension style. And we haven't covered dimensions or dimension styles yet. That will come in a couple of more weeks, and we'll talk about and deal with that in a couple of weeks. So let me undo that. When we have a series of circles here, usually the center line would continue all the way across them, but you would need a plus mark in the middle of each of them. So let's go ahead and put a center mark in here. Let's just go ahead and do it on all of them. And we're just going to have to do some fixing. Okay, so let's select one of them and right click and go select similar, and it will select all of our center marks that we've got. So let's go to properties and let's change this cross size to 0.12, and the gap, let's change that to 0.06, and we'll leave the extensions at that. Well, let's change our line type back to the center line type. All right, and so we'll go escape, and then we take a look at it. Okay, and so now this looks good, this looks correct. The problem being we've got two lines on top of each other here. So the thing would be is to grab one of them and shorten it, or else what you're going to do is when it prints, you're going to have a double thick line there. And one thing we could have done, we could have just done one of them and then copied the other one up above here. Or we could have done one before we did the array, and then copied it along with the array. Okay, so now we've finished the gasket. We're going to add the cam onto this same drawing sheet, so I'm going to stop this video and then come back with another video to finish up the rest of the project here.